He is Hayden Hillier-Smith, and he has edited videos for some of the biggest creators on the planet. The total views generated by his edited videos are more than 6 billion views, so I challenged myself to watch all of his videos in 2 days. And here are the 5 scripts that I learned from Hayden but you probably never know before, but may be life-changing to you even you know one of them. Well, other than doing cool effects,
Fine.
one of the biggest time wasting in the editing is finding the right music. It's understandable that you are lazy, then just choose one and go. Or maybe the music is cool and you choose it, but that's a source of problem to make a video feel awkward. Music is the feeling of your video. It creates feel to set it up, to build out the emotion across your audience, just so that they can have a quality emotional experience. So now, let's see these 2 examples.
One thing I'm definitely curious about here as well is the music choice. It being like an action, sort of like tense music. Suddenly the school kind of seems a bit scary. The epic music, I don't quite think matches the intent of this sequence.
Like a little bit more like uplifting epic music.
I'm going to spend the next 10 days customizing this entire school. This school's gargantuan.
Could have been an interesting experiment.
Big Matt, you are killing it, boy! This is so much fun! I wonder what Matt's doing right now.
It's hour 25, which means even though I'm halfway done, I still have 25 miserable hours ahead.
These guys are having the best time of their life. Them having a great time at the peak of their cuts. We then should have then cut to tripod shots of you being lonely as well. And the music's not quite supporting it. Just by contrasting those 2 different songs, we then get this sequence.
You're killing it!
But how or where to get the right music and still safe to monetize? Hillier-Smith has a huge library of high quality music and sound effects, and you can use them in your YouTube videos without need to worry about the hidden copyright issues anymore, and still can safely monetize your videos. Once you find a song that you really like and you go to actually download it, you can download the full song or different stems like melody, instruments, bass or drums for if you want the specific only. If you want to try Hillier-Smith for free for your first month, then you can check the link down in the description. For sound, it helps in creating the rhythms or even enhance the existing rhythms. By Hayden, a clear rhythm creates expectation and anticipation. What does it mean actually?
When all of a sudden, I felt the presence.
What are the 2 most famous horror themes ever? Psycho and Jaws. What do they have in common? Rhythm. The best example of rhythm in this sketch is the sounds. I played them at specific points that gave rhythm. It literally plays like a metronome throughout the sketch. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
And most of the time, effective sound design is choosing sounds that are loosely related to the object.
It's a lot of money for a little box of cardboard.
Now what this actually does is this gives you something to look forward to and also a better concept to how much money he is spending. But what's actually more interesting was the sound design to how I did this. For example, how I did clickety-clack sounds was actually a sound effect of a clock, but I didn't sped it up 400% and so, well, it plays even faster. Since we are also talking about money, I also thought about the common image of money being that type of sound effect. And then, of course, I then wanted to get the peak, the reveal of the number with a bell type sound effect. This bell type sound effect also represents cash registers. All of these sounds have some sort of relationship with money, and so therefore it helps sell the idea of, well, money.
And that's how you may steal to make your sound design more better. Secondly, murder your darlings, where we are now playing in the game called Algorithm. And the only rule is getting your audience attention. Obviously, the strategy of short and fast videos is more effective rather than longer. Just like you might deliver everything, every detail inside your video to over-deliver your audience, but what eventually can happen is they might get nothing. And because it is too much, or you might try to shorten your video to fight the short form content. It is understandable, but if you end up with over trimming until cutting out some small emotional moments, then it obviously lacks of emotion. So if the cut undermines the values of the rest of the cut, then cut it out.
So yes, murder your darlings, but don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
By Hayden, it is not a scene to trim, but it is a scene to over trim. Number 3, the jump cut is basically the audio plays before the video comes. And it is important for the reason of there are two pieces of information needed to process at the same time by your audience when both of them are played together. Thus, your cut flow will become so unsmooth. So add your audio to play 2 or 3 frames before the visual, then it will make your cuts flow so much smoother. Contrast creates focus. There's something your audience should focus when you are using contrast editing. Let's start this.
Before launching myself off the top rope at WrestleMania and securing the first win of my career.
Talking heads have no music or sound effects. It's naked. And then I immediately cut to something that's high intense with multiple layers of sound effects. And then at the peak of that energy, I cut back to the naked cut.
And securing the first win of my career.
It's so effective that I do it again.
My career.
Contrast creates focus, and I just made you focus on that video.
Hayden separated the talking head and the high intense B-roll intentionally, so that this can make you focus. And for another situation, contrast can create emotional impact if matching the cuts. Like when contrast editing 2 different scenarios in your video, audience can feel the significant difference in emotion after being emphasized.
So he's out there in the middle of nowhere and we're on land, so what are we gonna eat?
5-star restaurant, of course. We are eating good. I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting the lobster tail. I'm feeling a steak. Now let's see what we got to eat. We have lasagna with meat sauce or breakfast skillet.
What you're trying to do is contrast storytelling. I really like that you're trying to do that. I think the execution is the reason why this doesn't work as well as it could have been.
As I was prepping to eat, my friend's 5-star meal arrived. Oh, delicious. So there it is. It's basically just powdered food with noodles. I'm not sure if you're supposed to cook this or eat it dry, but I don't really have a choice, so this is not good at all.
This salad is bomb.
This is so good. I can tell you're wearing half of it. Gotta save it for later.
Here's a structure how this could have been. Look at this powdered noodle. This looks horrible. We then cut to the steak. Wow, this is delicious. We cut to the guy about to take a big bite of the steak, and then we cut to you. Oh, this is horrible. That contrast cutting could have made that moment a lot more emphasizing.
The pop in the pool is an advanced storytelling technique, but it has been always used by some of the biggest creators throughout their videos. And the easiest way to explain is, you talk about your exposition, the important thing that you need to convey while entertaining. Like you are telling some hardcore stuffs, maybe business fundamentals while swimming. This is just an example. I just want you to understand the logic. And Hayden go provide a great film example to express the pop in the pool.
For example, The Big Short uses Margot Robbie in a bubble bath to explain very boring politics.
Basically, Louis Ranieri's mortgage bonds were amazingly profitable for the big banks. They made billions and billions on their 2% fee they got for selling each of these bonds. But then they started running out of mortgages to put in them. After all, there are only so many homes and so many people with good enough jobs to buy them, right? So the banks started filling these bonds with riskier and riskier mortgages. Thank you, Banjo. That way, they can keep that profit machine churning, right? By the way, these risky mortgages are called subprime. So whenever you hear subprime, think shit. Our friend Michael Burry found out that these mortgage bonds that were supposedly 65% AAA were actually just mostly full of shit. So now he's going to short the bonds, which means to bet against. Got it? Okay. Now fuck off.
Or maybe while you are talking some important points, your friends are making jokes and keeping people entertained. Here's one video of Logan Paul that introduced by Hayden to explain.
Logan, I actually watched most of it.
Do you hear that? There's something special happening. And while you can't admit it, Pokemon is fucking huge. Logan for president! Yeah! No, but seriously. Honestly, no, listen.
That's the Pope in the Pool. Don't just read the rules of the board game, entertain us at the same time.
That's the 5 secrets that I learned from Hayden, but you probably never know before, but maybe life-changing to you even you know one of them. And these are not all the things that I have learned, so please subscribe if you don't want to miss out in the near future. And don't forget to check out Epidemic Sound if you want to have quality sound designs in your videos. And thanks for watching.